Alrighty.
Extra late cast.
Extra late cast, hour late cast.
Not my fault this time.
Not quite an hour late cast, we got a couple minutes. So we're technically not late, that's what that means.
58 minutes late. Less than an hour, so technically not late, actually.
But welcome, everybody. This hopefully will be the last stream for this tier list before we move on to other things or go back to gaming or what have you. We don't know exactly what we'll do yet.
We were thinking, we do really like the tier list. We'll probably, we've talked before that we want to do some One Piece tier lists on the One Piece channel, and then we also want to do maybe like yearly... Or
well, I just had the thought, like, we could just have this for our podcast now, and then whenever we do a podcast to end a show, we could just put it somewhere.
That's a good idea.
And then we could cut out us moving it around and shit, because there's probably going to be a lot of that this stream as well. But welcome, everybody. Welcome, Bob, Mike, Joe. 12 p.m. on the dot for me. Well, you just doxed yourself, so you're done, buddy. What up, Killer Queen? What up, Poppy? What up, Ego? What up, Frankie?
Bro's living in daylight savings time over here.
Gatsukami and what's his Patreon name? Yellow Onion?
I can't remember. We did just see that though.
Yeah, anyway, Kamui was telling us, I don't want to bring my phone here, but I just want to look. We saw your stuff, and I think we're good on that. Maybe in the future something like that, but we considered making a tier list on the computer, but Lindsay really wanted to do a physical one just because it's more fun, even if it's not as user friendly for the viewers, which is why I didn't want to do it. But I think it's more fun this way.
Thank you though.
Even if it is just really silly, but thank you. But we're gonna stick with this. But maybe in the future we'll do something mixed media or something like that. Or maybe like, I don't know, maybe that you know what, maybe in the future what might be good if we want to like make this into a Patreon thing or something. I don't know if we would or somehow, but we could post like a digital version for free on Patreon, and then people could go there and then to maybe check that out, and then maybe they'd want to stay for other stuff and we make money from that. I don't know. But that would be the benefit of something like that. But like with this, especially now that we have the camera, we have this camera where you can zoom in and see what we're kind of holding. Then it's not as pertinent.
Plus, who doesn't want to hear us go over the entire thing because no one can see what we're talking about? But I do like the idea that you had of doing it at the end of every podcast. It would also encourage us to do a podcast, at least a short one for every series that we do, even if we don't finish it, even like just if there's ones that we like don't finish and like want to add in later, then like that could be good on like just a random like talking stream that we like do that for a few minutes or something. Next tier list, Carson's hair. That would actually be kind of fun.
It would be pretty embarrassing though. Do you guys think that right now is S tier, or maybe not right now, but like a month or two ago, like I think the best hair I've had genuinely on camera was the most recent One Piece podcast, which we recorded at the beginning of April. That's your most elite hair. Yeah, I was also in like peak shape because then I got sick. So then I stopped going to the gym for like the last month and a half or so. But yeah,
you'll make 2 podcasts and then drop it. Don't say that.
But we were looking at like a few of my other hairstyles. It's also hard if we were to do a tier list for my hair. It would be hard because like I've gone through so much body change in the last like 5 years. Like when we first started, I was probably not really the best shape of my life. I wasn't as strong as I am now, but like weight wise and health wise, I was probably among the best. And then so I looked pretty good in that way. But my hair was a fucking disaster. It was like terrible.
Bald SSS tier.
But but then like, my hair might have been silkier and smoother at some points like in the last 2 to 3 years, but I was also way heavier and like way out of shape and kind of gross looking. So it's been a big variance. Anyway.
Oh my fucking god.
What did she do? Oh my god. That's a garbage bag. Like filled with garbage. You should get her out. She's probably...
She's not in there, but she's underneath it. Briar, this is a plastic bag, you fucking idiot.
Classic BOLDcast. Halfway off camera is like just piles of trash, as always. And we wouldn't even talk about Lindsay's room.
Shut up. This is mostly just D&D and like paint.
Yeah, that's the thing now.
And like cords.
Yeah, like I'm messy and like I have a way too high tolerance for mess and garbage in my area. But on top of that, it like even if I clean this area, it falls apart so quickly because of DMing. Like when I am getting ready for D&D on the weekends or like Friday or Saturday night, I like spend the whole day rummaging around and like, oh, I need to find this one thing, and then I rip out every drawer. I look under my desk. I like fly around because shit, like something fell behind my desk or like, and I didn't know it, so I looked everywhere but there, and then everything gets torn apart, or I'm like printing something out and gluing shit together for like a craft or something for D&D. And then I'm like, oh, I don't have the time to do it nicely and put the shit back, so I'll just throw everything everywhere so that I have enough time to do everything that I need before D&D, and then it's a complete disaster.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I guess...
Carson with no bars here was C tier. Playing any One Piece games? We have thought about that. Mm-hmm. We have thought about that. I don't know if we would want to do streams on the One Piece channel, because I wonder, like, it might screw with the algorithm, but it would get the most views there. And also, I don't know about doing streams of One Piece here, because... we don't,
like... Yeah.
It's like, you know, it might mess up the algorithm even worse on this channel.
And we also don't want spoilers.
Yeah.
Which is why it would be better to do it over here, because then...
we have moderators and we have a whole...
And we also have, like, the, you know, the 1 hour subscribe time, but all of the One Piece people... Not that, obviously, I'm sure a lot of you guys watch our One Piece videos, and, like...
Stop paying attention.
Sorry, she's just, like, flipping around. I don't know.
She's getting her attention.
It's,
Anyway,
what was I saying? Like, so we don't want to get spoiled on One Piece, because a lot of One Piece fans, even if they're not trying to spoil, could very easily accidentally spoil us.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want to give them content, but I also then wouldn't want to be looking at the chat, which then we might as well not do something live and just post a video of it, because, like, I don't want people to feel like we're not interacting with them if we're live, but I also don't want to accidentally get spoiled, whether someone's doing it on purpose or just is excited about One Piece and does it by accident. Like, we kind of had, you know, similar stuff with other shows as well. Like, you know...
with Naruto?
Yeah, like...
Like, yeah, we had them for those... I mean, most of you probably remember. Maybe not. It might even be before a lot of your guys' time. I know Frankie was there. I know Crouton King was there. But there were a few people... who were there, but it was one of our mods. Was it our first mod? Yeah, I think Juan was our first mod. Right?
What?
I think so. Pretty sure.
Really?
I'm almost
Before
100% sure. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Harsh was one of... Or no, maybe Harsh was first.
Either way, those were like one of the
those were the two first mods, yeah. Juan was our mod, and he started watching us because of Naruto, and then, like, he's, like, on accident, he's also Spanish speaking. So he accidentally spoiled the 8 Gates reveal with Lee and Guy and stuff like that when we were in Rock Lee versus Gaara in the Chunin exams and that whole shit. So, like, just mentioning all that, like, all that stuff, like, I had to, and I couldn't remove his message, so I had to unmod him. And then he, like...
Then he didn't think that he had spoiled...
No, yeah. He didn't...
It was completely unintentional.
Yeah.
So, but Carson couldn't... And none of the other mods could remove it, and then Carson also couldn't remove it. So then he had to unmod him, and then it was, like, we felt super bad, because it was, like...
And then I think he did it again in trying to argue about it, and I was just like, I can't risk... Like, now, because we were both streaming together, I was like, yeah, don't look, and also I'm trying to explain to Juan why... what he's doing is a spoiler without trying to spoil you, because you're there, and while keeping the stream going. So then I'm just like, I can't do this. So then I had to, like, I think I banned him temporarily
And then unbanned
and
him
then unbanned him,
modded him.
Yeah,
after
later.
it kind of got sorted out.
So there's shit like that, and that was a particular situation. But I feel like with One Piece, especially now that we're a lot bigger, even it might be even worse. So yeah, I don't know. Like I want to do One Piece games. We just haven't figured out. First of all, which ones to do. Second of all, where to do them or how to do them.
Third of all, also like I would like to do that stuff on One Piece, but also right now, One Piece is like we kind of have it good of like, you know, we just post a double episode every second day, but we also spend so much of our time focusing on One Piece that part of doing these streams is like kind of revitalizing our main channel, you know? So if we're gonna stream, if we're gonna play games and stuff, I feel like I'd kind of prefer to do it over here, you know, and interact with this channel.
Right.
As well, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's do what we actually are here for.
Okay, what do you guys want to start with? Actually, let's start with a shorter one first. Would you guys rather do Invincible, Charlotte, or Bocchi the Rock?
Or Hunter x Hunter?
No, let's do one of those first.
Okay. Bocchi, Invincible, or Charlotte?
What up, Pirate King? What up, Mac? Antidote, welcome back. Charlotte, Bocchi, Invincible.
Charlotte.
So
you can trash it, get out of here. Ban.
Let's do Charlotte first.
Charlotte, because I think a lot of people have probably been waiting for this. And then maybe up next we could do Clannad, because we ended off the last stream, or at least close to the last stream, we did Angel Beats.
The stream is not sponsored by Rain. Just so everyone's aware. Okay, so Charlotte. Has everyone seen this show?
Probably not, and if you haven't, you should.
And then watch our reactions to it. Where would you... What do you think about our reactions to Charlotte?
I feel like we had good reactions to Charlotte. Do you think that we had a better reaction to Charlotte than Angel Beats?
No.
No?
No, not even close.
I think Charlotte I like more. And the story of Charlotte, I feel like I really like.
I never put them next to each other. Like, I never ranked them in my head, which one I liked more. I don't think.
B tier. Didn't like it the first watch through. Charlotte is goated.
Again, the reaction's not the show itself.
For anyone just tuning into this, we are ranking our reactions to the show, not the show itself. I remember really liking the show. I remember there was like some crazy plot twists. I also remember because there was an OVA for the show, right? Mm-hmm. I like that OVA. I'm pretty sure it's Patreon exclusive, but like that OVA was so fucking crazy to watch. Like, just I obviously won't spoil the show, but like when you know the plot twist of the show and then you watch the OVA that like took place earlier on, you're like, oh my god, like it just put it in such a different perspective. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was
but
insane.
it wasn't just about that. It was also that in conjunction with the way that the problem of the OVA episode was solved and like what your expectations as a viewer, like the way the OVA is written and the way the OVA goes, yeah, in context with the rest of the series is like it's actually like a weirdly like the writer had to be really thinking about a lot of different things and how to maneuver audience expectations and the use of the power system and like so many different things and it all being fit in with like the emotions of it. It was great. But the show, I remember we had a really good reaction. It's such a funny show, especially early on. And
really funny also, but I feel like unlike Angel Beats was super funny and super sad and then had like this like the action like and guns and stuff. But I feel like this had a little bit more of like a plot to it, and it was a little bit episodic at the start, and then it kind of built up, and like there was like some actual like shocking moments in this.
So bring it back to our reaction and not just the show. Our reaction to those shocking moments was not in a way proper because there was one really shocking moment that we didn't believe happened.
It is.
Oh, Juan, we were just
we were
talking
just
about
talking
you.
about you.
We were just talking about when you got unmodded like a second ago. Juan, what up? But yeah, so Charlotte, we didn't react like super crazily to one thing, at least as crazy as we should have, because we didn't believe that like it was real. So
That's true. That's
true.
Like
that dampened the impact of like a decent amount of the series. Is a cat gonna take down the light?
She might. She's thinking about it.
She's really looking at the light.
Why are you so hyped up right now?
But yeah, so Charlotte, where are we putting Charlotte?
I don't know. I feel like it should be pretty high.
What do you guys think?
I feel like at least like a higher A tier. I think.
I also don't know. This is one of those things. I think this is in the period where the video quality wasn't that great. Like as far as the actual like edits that I was doing, the audio was really bad.
A tier, low A, high A. I feel like definitely somewhere in A. Because this was still like the top B or low A.
I think low A. I think better than Avatar. Not better than Tokyo Revengers. I think maybe in line with One Piece live action. Maybe better.
Well, you just said it wasn't better than Tokyo Revengers.
Yeah, nothing's better than Tokyo Revengers, though. I think not as good as Demon Slayer Season 2.
Okay.
That's what I think. As far as our reactions. I think that's where it belongs. That's where I'm
fair.
putting it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, this is what I heard with the reactions, because to me that's like one of... I haven't rewatched it, because it's kind of special, but that is like one of my favorite shows ever. It's so good. And I always
in your top 3, isn't it?
It used to be. I might have to reassess at some point, but yeah, like I love that show so much.
I think right there for Charlotte. It's very good.
And next up, do we want to do Clannad to finish off the June Maida?
Which
series?
other June Maida did we do?
Day
Angel
Became
Beats.
a God
and Angel
and Day
Beats.
Became a God already. We got them already.
Sure, why not? Okay, so Clannad part 1 first. We'll do after we're doing After Story and the rest of Clannad. Let me. Hang on.
I think it's probably fine there.
There.
Is it in the way of the other camera?
Let's find out. Yes.
There. There.
That's better.
Very nice.
Okay.
I'm
So
looking at the
Clannad.
floor trying to find Boruto. Boruto is actually in E tier. It is not in F tier. F tier is reserved for some pretty bad stuff that we didn't even finish.
Okay.
D tier? Well, maybe.
For Clannad?
Well, I don't think I think D tier might be a bit harsh, but I think C tier.
I don't think it's that harsh.
No?
Like, Clannad, I don't think you're thinking of the actual episodes of Clannad.
Yeah, there's some fucking... Like, the garden... I remember the gardening.
You harp on that like it was different, though. Like, it was bad, but it was, like... It was just one episode of Clannad. Like, you harp on that because that's just what you remember. But you don't... Like, do you recall that the first half of Clannad is, like... Or the first 9 episodes or something is all Fuko's thing?
Yeah.
And then there's... is it Kotomi? Right after?
Yeah.
And then it's the twins or some shit. Maybe not. Maybe they don't. I think they get their arc in the OVA or the after story thing.
Yeah, I guess if it's gonna be D, I want it to be like high D. I think. Because there was some moments that we did like about it.
Yeah.
You know. Like, because I feel like it's weird because I feel like this was like a good show that we were like kind of in a bad mood to be watching. This we just like didn't really we had kind of set ourselves up for failure by switching to the sub instead of dub, and then this one we just like kind of got tired of and didn't like. I feel like this one had stuff that we liked, but it was like very few and far between.
But like, do you remember what good video came out of this? Like, I don't remember a good video.
Yeah.
That came out of part 1 of Clannad.
Yeah. Lodi then?
Yeah, like a lot of it was just kind of not like it wasn't. Like, I don't think that the show is necessarily that bad, but I think of our reactions, and I don't think that, like, I don't think I can point to one of them that I'm like,
this was good.
Oh, yeah, that episode really hit hard. Like, I don't, so I think right there.
Yeah.
That's and fair. Also just because it's easier to
not... That's what I was thinking, like, that's what I was saying, like, I feel like it, like, is, maybe not worse than those where we actually, like, didn't, like, fully didn't like it.
Yeah. Okay. After story.
Now this.
This is peak.
This is peak.
This is peak.
This is actual peak. This is
Clannad After Story.
Was this like? I feel like this was one of the first shows that we were like really, really were crying at.
I cried once or twice at ReZero, and Naruto, I think.
But I feel like the crying in this was
yeah,
different.
This was like...
Or we cried in Angel Beats, and that's maybe the only thing that was like before this that we were like...
But to me, the specific moments in this show, like, actually genuinely kind of shook me emotionally and, like, made me really sad. Like, genuinely... like altered my brain, like in a way that other shows that we watched have yet to do. It's just genuine like despair and affected me like in a serious way. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
What do you guys think?
Mid-A.
Mid-A for the reaction. I've watched most of My Hero Academia, but we're not talking about My Hero Academia. We're talking about fucking Clannad After Story, you guys. But I like it decently. It's not my favorite, but Clannad After Story.
I think it's a B show, but an A reaction.
I think it's an S show.
Yeah.
Clannad After Story. Clannad After Story, since we took time to make sure we can do rants, it's a kind of depression that you get from anime, but it's not like most anime depression. I forget what we were talking about recently where I made this point. That like a lot of anime can make you sad in like a super... Was it on this stream or were we talking about something previous? Does anyone remember? Like, I was talking about a lot of anime can, like, make you sad in, like, a really sort of, like, fantasy way, or, like, oh, no, they're gonna destroy the world, or, like, oh, I've lost everything, my master has died, or something like that, and it's, like, that's not a real life thing, like, that's... it's maybe related to feelings that you have in real life, but it's not, it's kind of fictional. Like the sadness is based on something fictional. Mm-hmm. But the sort of the life that Okazaki lives in After Story after he graduates with everything that's going on, like just his lifestyle where like he moves into the apartment and he can't hang out with his girlfriend because he has to work, and he's like really kind of stressed out about his like blue collar job, and he's trying to do a good job, and he's trying to like impress his boss, and he's trying to do good and just like be a person. Like he's not trying to be like a fighty guy, and it's not like overly dramatic all the time, but it's like sad and quiet in the way that a real life is.
And then in like the like kind of second part of it when it's just like so depressing and you're just like how how do you let this happen, but you can like believe that it happened because it happens, you know what I mean? Like it was just terrible.
Yeah.
Above Hereditary?
Yeah, I think so too. I think I feel like
I would put it at like the top of
A. Yeah, I feel like I put it at the top of A. I'd be tempted to put it into S because of how it genuinely affected us in those moments, but I don't know. It's up like I think that maybe going higher than that because it's just depressing. Maybe it wouldn't be as...
And, like, maybe the way that it affected you, like, like, does that make the reactions better, that it had, like, a long-lasting impact on you?
I'm not just talking about the long-lasting impact, I'm talking about the videos themselves.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, like, I can't remember every single episode, like, maybe there was...
Do you remember the field? Do you remember on the train?
Yeah,
and all that stuff?
I know. I'm saying, I feel like I would put it in S, but everyone else is saying lower, so that makes me think high A.
Like, no other show has made either of us cry like this show has. No other show has.
Yeah.
Like, we could look at them all. I'm looking at all these other shows. The only thing that's come close was You at the end of Run with the Wind, but that was just You. But both of us were affected deeply and seriously multiple times
throughout this show.
Throughout this entire show.
Especially after this ends up so low.
Yeah.
To, like, still remember, like, and I remember we would just, like, think about this show and get super upset for, like, months after we watched it.
Yeah.
I could put it in S. I was anticipating putting it in S before everyone was saying, like, A.
Yeah, why do you guys think A and not S? I'm curious. Or do you guys just not remember?
Didn't even watch it.
Yeah, whoever has.
Because we're running out of space in S.
Yeah.
We should have put, like, a little thing on the side, actually. Extension on S tier.
Maybe we need to redo it again, because it's like I think that those are an S, but also we're really biased. But, you know, maybe it would be, a lot of the S ones would just be A if we just scaled it differently, but
yeah,
anyway.
I feel like even maybe from, like, Dawn to Dawn back could be bumped down into A.
For you, it wasn't better than our Mob Psycho reactions?
Yeah, but do you like Mob Psycho? Are you being influenced by your own opinions? How dare you? I
think I'll just put A, since that seems to be more the vibe that everybody who actually watched the reactions is saying. So we'll do that.
We'll go high A, though.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Where was this?
That was right beside Tokyo Revengers.
Oh, this is not. Did you just put this? You just put this on, didn't you?
Yeah, it was.
Why is it all
sticky?
No, it's not sticky.
Oh. The hell? A bit more tape, I guess.
Ugh. Yeah, S is fine, but S shouldn't be a fine thing, you know? I feel like that's how we got into the situation in the first place. I feel like a lot of the S's could be moved down to A, and a lot of the A's could be moved down to B, etc. We kind of did that last stream, I know. But just looking at it again, I feel like it's still kind of highly weighted. I think a lot of the ones deserve to be an S still. Most of them do. I think up to Kaguya Season 2 deserves to be an S. Maybe everything else could get moved down 1. But whatever. I still think the point of S is that all those are like our best reactions. So
we're obviously the most elite reaction channel, so it definitely they should all be an S.
Right. Okay. What
next?
So we got Fruits Basket. We got Bocchi the Rock. We got let's do Bocchi the Rock or Invincible.
Get those out of there.
Let's do these first. Which of these do you guys want to do first? Bocchi the Rock or Invincible reactions? What do you guys think? I think, yeah, Invincible would be good to do first. Let's do Invincible first.
Our reactions kind of blend together? How could you say that? How do you not remember every video we've ever made?
I think our
Fake
Invincible
fan.
reactions were not that good because the show,
It's
to
just
me,
not our kind of show.
it's not our kind of show. I don't super like superheroes all that much most of the time, especially Western superheroes. Like, My Hero Academia is still an anime, so it has a flair of an anime. It's still very inspired, obviously, by Western comics and things like that, like just even in its art style, but it's still a shonen anime. It has the style of a shonen anime. So it feels less like a Western comic and more like a shonen, which is the kind of style that I like. I don't really like a Western... I don't... Like, I said this, I think in relation to this or in 2B Hero X last stream, I think that the time of criticizing our culture through the lens of a superhero or criticizing the concept of a superhero by using superheroes, even the discussion about it in a subversive way, in a metacritical way, is so played out that it is beyond uninteresting to me in every way. I don't see why the idea of a superhero is so ubiquitous to the point where it's like a default for storytelling. And beyond that, something like Invincible or The Boys or in a way 2B Hero X, I don't see what's interesting about exploring that even in a meta way. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, it's so uninteresting. The idea of superheroes are so boring to me that even making fun of the idea is still boring. That's how I feel. And Invincible to me, like, I just don't really care about even taking a step further of like, oh, it's not just superheroes, it's not just violent superheroes, it's like criticizing superheroes or challenging the way we think about things through that. Like, it's just the aesthetic and the style, even if it's more realistic and the characters are more realistic in some ways, and it has a lot of interesting things to say, just the style of it and the format is dull.
I think to me, the main thing that I didn't like about Invincible is I genuinely do not really like Western animated shows, specifically that are for adults. I don't like the beating me over the head with the fact that it's a cartoon,
but it's violent.
For adults. Yeah. Don't forget, it's for adults. We can swear and we can bash someone's face in, and I'm like, some of it was, impactful. Some of it was like, but at the end of the day, it's like if that's like the most memorable thing was when someone just violently attacked someone else. Is that a good show? To me, what I really liked about the show is I really liked the mom, and I really liked the dynamic with that. Also, Sandra Oh is an incredible actor, so it's like I feel like
I love all the actors.
Yeah, so I feel
all
like
all three of the main actors are some of my favorites. Ever.
That dynamic to me was what was really interesting about the show. But there was also a lot of other things that, like, something when I think about it objectively, I'm like, that was not bad. There was a lot of things that I liked about that show. But then when I remember watching it, I wasn't having that much fun watching
moment to
moment. So
there's a couple big moments and big episodes, but everything it's kind of like what we talked about with Clannad, where it's like you remember, like, and we talk about it with every show. It's a lot of people get swept up in the feeling of one particular moment, and then say the entire show is goated. Mm-hmm. And to me, I just it needs to be entertaining moment to moment, and just. First of all, season 1 in particular with Amber, after learning more about Amber, because I felt this and I understood that this was probably going on with her. when we were watching, like, it's kind of intuitive if you think about, like, what her character is and how her character's acting and the lens that everything is being portrayed through. Like, you can see it even if you don't have knowledge about what she was like in the comics and what the whole dynamic was. But, basically, she was changed to be, like, some kind of... I don't want to get into this whole thing, because it's a whole fucking can of worms and people get very sensitive about this kind of a topic. But, like, she was I'll use the word, woke, like, interpretation of this, thing. Because the whole point of Amber is that she's, like, the human one, and then Eve is the superhero one, and Mark's, like, torn between these two worlds as he's, like, finding his power. It's literally, like, a Peter Parker-esque story. And she's representing that. But they wanted to make Amber, like, a more interesting character and more developed than just a pretty human girl who's, like, super kind and helping, and the whole point of Amber, it seems, is mostly that she is a human girl, that Mark is, it represents that kind of side to him, and she's very caring, and she's very mostly innocent, and more like his mom, kind of. And then Eve is, like, representing this more powerful side and things like that, and it's sort of representing this choice that he has. But they didn't want her to be so one-dimensional, so they made her kind of psychotic in a way, they were like, oh, we want her to be strong, so we'll make her blackmail the bully at Mark's school and, like, shit like that, and, like, just do weird shit, and then say that she already knew, because if she doesn't know that Mark is a superhero, then she's dumb and just playing into the trope.
Well, yeah, that was the whole
thing. So then
she's
not playing into the trope. She's just a bitch, and then you make her completely unlikable. It's the most, like, millennial Hollywood writing interpretation of.
Once we found out that Amber wasn't supposed to know, then it made sense, because it's like, if you know that your boyfriend's a superhero and you're mad that you can't bait him into revealing it to you, even though you already know, and you're not like, oh, he's blowing off our date because he's literally saving people's lives.
Yeah.
If you do that, then you're being a fucking bitch. If you don't know and you're upset that your boyfriend is standing you up all the time,
but then she doesn't have the upper hand,
and you're thinking that he might be, like, cheating on you with Eve, who's hanging out with at school, or like, this could be a reasonable response for a high school girl. I mean, but and she could be a very likable and relatable character, but making her smart enough to have figured it out just then makes her look very unreasonable when he is saving people's lives and doing actual things, and she gets annoyed about it.
But the problem isn't that was her character. The problem is that they changed it to reflect a more... What they were trying to do was a more actualized person, but what they ended up doing is the only way that they could make her more actualized in the way that they wanted, have more agency, was by making her mean. And we only watched, like, the first few episodes of season 2, but you could tell instantly that they backtracked that. And then in that episode, or in one of those episodes where they went to check out the college for their friend, for William.
Oh yeah.
They, like, I forget. Oh, it was like the writers. There was, like, multiple writing teams for the different episodes, clearly, and then they didn't sync up, and there was, like, a continuity problem with what Amber was thinking, or what she knew, or where she was, or some shit.
Weird.
I forget exactly what the thing was, but, like, I tried to explain that in a really roundabout way, because I didn't want to piss anybody off, that there was, like, a clear continuity error, or a clear, like, problem with the writing, because there's, like, multiple writing teams, multiple writers' rooms that are, like, people are in charge of these episodes, people are in charge of these episodes, and it's all has to do with this sort of meat machine that is, like, Hollywood, and how all these jobs get, like, kind of divvied up, and how everybody gets paid, and what everybody's positions are. So, but the bottom line was that there was, like, weird little problems with that. And then, yeah, like, the animation isn't good, and it's not, and I've gotten a lot of, like, memes about like, the newer season of Invincible. I haven't gotten really spoiled on a lot of things, but, like, some things. But like, it's clear that it's just, it could be a lack of budget and money, but, like, a lot of anime have way better animation than Invincible, with the same or much less budget. It's because the workers' conditions aren't as good. But it's also that the people who are working on anime are just more skilled and passionate than the people who are working on things like Invincible or even things like Legend of Vox Machina, which at times has really good animation, but most of the time is in a similar vein as Invincible, which is just basic flat lighting, flat backgrounds, moving PNGs. And, you know, what matters most to them is that the characters are on model, first of all, and then second of all, that their mouths match the words that the actors are saying. That's what they care about most. No real artistry in terms of, like, imaginative animation or bending perspectives, except for in, like, glimmer moments in, like, 1 or 2 scenes a season, max. In season 1, I don't know if there was even much of that. Even in the big action scenes, it was in a very similar style where everything looked very flat and not really dynamic, not really a lot of change of perspectives, not really changes in sort of focus and lighting and stuff like that. They don't really play around with the artistry of animation a lot. And it seems like it's just they could have made this in live action on a soundstage with green screens and blue screens and CGI, but they didn't have the budget for that. And instead they made it an animation with that's just the same kind of format as something like The Boys, or something in that kind of vein. It's not really using animation to its strengths at all. It could have just as easily been a live action Disney adaptation type vibe. You know, it's all in that same kind of vein. By which I mean not really imaginative, and that's how I felt with a lot of Invincible. Is that it helped me to put it in perspective after we were watching Invincible to know that the comic wasn't a new comic. I didn't know that it was so old. It came out like in the mid 2000s, I think.
I think so.
Early 2000s, maybe?
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense to me, because in that time
this would have been very fresh.
It would have been extremely fresh and very interesting. And I think to a lot of people it still is, if they don't, if their media consumption is restricted to.
It would have been.
Yeah, that makes it a big difference, because that's a completely different landscape than, you know, that's 20 years ago. That's like completely different, and as far as
also like before even
different plot lines
before
and stuff like that.
Even, you know, like obviously Marvel and DC were like popular, but before like the
Iron
movies,
Man was 2008.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, now as you talked about, like there's a bit of superhero fatigue, regardless of like what the purpose of the superheroes is, whether they're criticizing superheroes or talking about this or talking about that. It's just like you've seen it 1,000 times at this point. But then, you know, especially in comics, when there's always been like a ton of superhero comics, but you know, that's what I'm saying. I don't necessarily hate the story. I just, you know, not the hugest fan of the show.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about it, because it's something that I really want to love. It's something that I probably would have loved if it came out 10 years ago. But I think it's because our media consumption isn't restricted to Severance, White Lotus, and Squid Game, or fucking even less than that, like Suits. You know, like the people who watch things like that watch Invincible and are blown away. Same with Legend of Vox Machina, and I love Critical Role, especially the Vox Machina campaign. But Vox Machina suffers from a very similar sort of syndrome to this, what you're talking about, like this adult animation thing. You know, if you watch Star Wars and all the Star Wars series, maybe Marvel movies, maybe you watch Severance, White Lotus, these, you know, the popular flavor of the month fucking HBO or Hulu shows, The Bear, you know, you watch things like that, which are all have something to them for people. But if that's your ecosystem, and then you go into something like Invincible, you might be blown away. But if you're like us and are consuming all of this and then come into this, I find it difficult to be so blown away. Because I think part of it genuinely is that, like, I think a lot of people, even who do watch stuff like this, at least Western people or non-Japanese speaking people, they might watch a lot of anime. This is kind of a weird take. I'll say that from the get-go. This is kind of a weird out there thing that I think about sometimes. But so bear with me, but you might disagree, or you might think that I'm just going in a weird fucking direction. But the novelty of anime and the fact that it's like a foreign thing it can feel so alien just in its language, and it can feel like it's not really in the same, like, universe as other shows that you would watch. Because of the language differences, because of the pacing differences, because of the whole storytelling culture that happens around something like anime. It can feel very alien and different in a way that I think to some Western viewers can feel like it's in its own category. When that like breakdown is gone, when you no longer think of things like this and things like this as this because like this feels like it's so premiere. It has like it's J.K. Simmons and Steven Yeun and Sandra Oh and all these people and Hollywood actors, and you know it feels very premiere. It feels like, you know, in its aura, it feels like it's something. You know, it doesn't feel like it's a random, you know, Asian show, you know, from out there in the East. It doesn't feel like it's, you know, from a far off land. Like this is Hollywood. This is like big shit. You know, it's again, this is like a kind of a weird thing, but like. When that difference, when that breakdown, like, for me, is not there, when there's, like, not really a difference between this and this in terms of, like, an aura, it's hard to, like, I don't even know if this is making sense to anybody. Look, I can smell it. I think I'm an expert because I watched 10 anime in the pandemic guy. I mean, I think I'm coming off as that right now, but I don't know. It's just... This feels special to a lot of people in a way that it didn't feel special to me. That's all I'm kind of saying.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is, you know, sometimes I'm in the mood to watch anime. Sometimes I'm in the mood to just watch like a random movie, probably that I've seen before, but like a random live action movie or just like a random Western show. Like fucking Grey's Anatomy or some shit. I can see how people like this feels more similar to things that people are familiar with.
Yes.
But different enough from those things because they probably haven't watched a lot of...
Because of episode 1 with Omni-Man and all that kind of
yeah,
shit.
So I guess what I'm saying is you know, it's animated, so you would think that it would be more similar to anime, but the plot and structure and the things that are going on are a lot more similar to just other Western media.
Right.
So... you know, it seems different with still being in like a comfort zone show. Yeah. That you don't have to.
Well, because it's a critique on things that everybody who watches that like boilerplate Western media, like that's what they consume, and it's familiar, but it's commenting shocking. It's commenting on what they are already familiar with. But if you're familiar with a lot, it's not. It's like all of these things that people watch are in a more narrow thing. But so then when something is commenting on what is so everywhere to a Western viewer, then it can feel like this is very important because it's like relevant, you know what I mean? Whereas, you know, if you're watching something, you're like us, you've seen the Avengers and you've seen all that kind of shit, but you've also seen you've gone down the rabbit hole to things like Higurashi or fucking what else? Like what else can we kind of point to? Like Beastars, like, you know, like the thing that the proportion of media that this is commenting on in our ecosystem is of a much smaller proportion, therefore it has a lot less of that relevance factor than it does for somebody who watches just Western media. When you watch, you know, a lot of the same things, and this is commenting on most of those things, then it feels like this is super important. But if your horizons are much broader, then it accounts for a much smaller proportion of your watching things. So it's not as important to us, I guess. The reason why I'm ranting so long about this as opposed to other things is because this is something that I really wish that I could get on the bandwagon for. It's something that I really wish that I could just love and engage with the way that I know a lot of people not only want us to, but a lot of other people genuinely do. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of other people, especially other reactors as well, get a huge kick out of this, not because of the views, but because the show like speaks to them and it is involved in their lives. It's almost as if it's commenting on their life, like because a lot of other people like watch, again, are in this kind of ecosystem, and this is so relevant to the things that they normally enjoy. But it's not really relevant to the things we normally enjoy, other than it being animated kind of poorly most of the time. And, you know, like, it's just not... It's not my thing, and I wish it was. It would be so, it's one of those things that's like, it would make my job so much easier if this was just the exact thing that I was looking for, if this is what I wanted. You know, if only I felt what other people felt, because I feel like I could, but I just don't see it the same way as at this point in my life with the things that I've consumed and with the sort of taste that I have, I guess. And it's unfortunate, and it's actually, it kind of makes me sad because it's something that I wish, it's a whole, like, it was, especially when season 3 was coming out and shortly after, like, everybody was so hyped up about it. I could see it all over the internet. It was everywhere. And I wish I could be a part of that, especially because of our job. But I don't feel the connection to it that other people do pretty much at all. And I just don't really care. And it sucks, and that's kind of all there is to it. So for our reactions, that kind of bled through, and I saw episode 1 coming from a mile away. I said it in the episode, and then I saw the last episode. When everything was actually happening in the last episode, and it was like super violent, and with the train scene and stuff like that. They sold the devastation of the city very well. And I felt it, and I felt the despair of it, and the emotions were really there. However, I think as far as a reaction, it probably disappointed a lot of people because, you know, we kind of saw it coming. It wasn't like an ultimate huge shock to us in the way that I think it may have been for a lot of other people. Low B, I think it's probably less. I think it's probably C or D. Fell down.
The tape that I put on the ones from today must have just not been...
Yeah, it's not sticking at all.
Good. Okay.
Well, there's no point in getting the same tape if it's not working.
Well, the one that I just stuck on Avatar seems to be fine. So.
Well, why is that tape bad? Or why is there...
I don't know. Maybe it was just like the end of the roll.
Oh. C? Yeah. Yeah, I think in season 1, it's like the reactions weren't bad. It's just that, like, we had reactions, but it was, I couldn't shake this thing I couldn't shake this feeling that it's one of those things that everyone feels like is super deep and meaningful and, like, big, but to me just felt, I don't like to put things in this way because it feels like a smarmy YouTuber guy who, you know, like, I feel like I'm falling into a fucking stereotype when I say, but it felt like predictable and not as big as everyone else said or felt, and like how everyone expected us to feel about it. It didn't feel like it didn't live up to me, you know? I think, sure, we'll put C. Because I think there were some episodes in there that had good reactions. And then there was also things like I couldn't make fun of it, you know, which is the same with every other reaction. It's like, so there's things about it that are clearly dumb and stupid, and I can't make fun of how dumb and stupid they are. Like the fucking... I'll still never get over the stupid prison break thing. Like, why would the guard have the keys to the super high-tech prison? It's like... You have all this technology to cage the most powerful fucking villains in the world, and it's written to be like a 1920s Alcatraz fucking prison break, like, except for Robot obviously like hacking the systems to open doors for them. But like, it just shows the, if you peel back one layer, it's like so clear and not that great. I don't know. Well, yeah, I think that's fair because it came out way too late in the zeitgeist. Yeah, I think we're all on the same page. I think I've made myself pretty clear. Obviously, at this point, I've repeated myself like 20 times, but it's just like the fact that, like, obviously that's true, that it is late in the zeitgeist, but everyone else in the world is on board with it. So then I think that the fact that those two things are both true requires a little bit more examination and why I would maybe feel the way I am. Because, like, okay, it's late in the zeitgeist. Okay, then why is everyone else,
hyped up
literally every other person, so hyped up about it? There must be something else going on there. And it must be more of a skill issue. It's more of a me problem. Which is,
Person trying like shows Challenge Impossible.
I try every day.
Mm-hmm. We doing Bocchi next or something else?
Yeah, let's do Bocchi just because it's another short one. Mm-hmm. You start off the conversation with Bocchi.
Now with Bocchi, I think that overall I would rank this decently high. However, people were extremely upset when we didn't like that she flung herself off the stage.
Yeah, and disproportionately that's the pocket of fandom. It's the same people that get mad at people in Jujutsu Kaisen and Free Ren, more like Free Ren. Free Ren, a lot of people, or a lot of other reactors got a lot of shit for getting, minor things wrong. Or just not understanding. A couple of, to tie it in, because it was a similar, the reason I'm talking about it is a similar reaction in the comments, is that when I was talking about the one girl in the mage exam, that I thought was being set up to be Denkin's granddaughter because they looked kind of similar. They had the same hair and eye color, but everyone was just getting pissed off. No, you're so they reacted disproportionately angrily or negatively to a minor misunderstanding or a minor disagreement with that's a misunderstanding, but in a minor sort of schism of thought between the reactor and the show. That happened at the end of this show in Bocchi the Rock in the last episode. We didn't like how they ended off the last finale thing with a not really that funny, at least to us, joke of her doing a stage dive and then getting knocked out to end that scene. It just didn't land for us.
And I don't necessarily...
That's it. But everyone got so upset.
I think it's
and we tried to explain it as much as we could.
I think it was kind of dumb. It was kind of silly. But mostly it just didn't... It just didn't land much how, she didn't land in the way that she thought she was going to. But all of our other reactions were good, and people were really mad about that, but I think all the reactions to everything else were really good. I thought the show was really relatable. I thought it was really fun. I really liked it, you know?
Yeah.
Just because that one part. That one moment didn't really hit, but now I associate the show so much with that one part of it.
Yeah.
You know? When the rest of it was so good.
We had literally nothing but good things to say about it for the entire show, and we had one negative review for one joke. And it like a house of cards, everything else didn't fucking matter. Every other episode, every other review did not matter in the eyes of the people. We were now known as guys who are overly critical of Bocchi the Rock, because we were mostly loving every episode, lukewarm on some things here and there, and then the last thing we just genuinely didn't like, shared that as honestly and clearly as we could in the discussion, trying to explain why. And then people just couldn't fucking accept that. So then, it brings down the entire reaction series, because I guess that just ruins everything for some people. And it's a similar thing kind of happened to a lot of reactors, less so to us, but to a lot of people in Free Ren. I remember a few reactors were talking about how their Free Ren comment sections were just fucking toxic as shit. And I think it's a similar kind of demographic. Yeah. Your reaction to the show felt a lot more muted than other reactors. Nothing wrong with that, though. Yeah, I think that's true too. I guess, a part of the whole journey with this thing is, we had a lot of positive things to say, a lot more muted. I think you're right. But it's because, I think I said this at the time, is that Bocchi, to me, I already have my Bocchi. This show was so deep, and this is why people had such a strong reaction to any negative criticism about the show. Because this made people feel so seen, and it portrays anxiety in a funny way, but also in a way that's very honest and real and relatable to a lot of people. So a lot of people connected with the show on a deeper level than they do a lot of other shows in that case. And so they're thus a lot more protective of it than a lot of other shows they might enjoy. But my favorite show is Welcome to the NHK, which is in a similar vein as this, less over the top funny and girly.
I feel like it's funny at the start, and then it just gets depressing.
It devolves into a way more depressing thing, and it's a lot less, you know, this is like silly, funny girls. Like, you know, the girls are all cute. There's all different kind of cute girl that you can kind of follow around. And it's cute girls doing cute things, but also with a tinge of reality in it as well. But, you know, that kind of a show that, you know, if you've experienced anxiety and being a shut-in and stuff like that, and you relate to something like this, I already have that void of a series that kind of speaks to me in that way was already filled with Welcome to the NHK. So like Bocchi wasn't again, if it's kind of a Invincible effect to me, where it's like this has kind of been for me. This has already been done. Like everyone is acting like this has never been done, or this is so unique and special. And to me, like that spot had already been taken by Welcome to the NHK, and that's why Welcome to the NHK, for similar reasons that people love Bocchi the Rock, are similar reasons why I love Welcome to the NHK, and I connected to it in a similar way. So I understand why people are so connected to the show, but it wasn't some new thing to me that an anime was dealing with anxiety in a really honest and relatable way. That it already been kind of shown to me to be done. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like the show. I always remember when in the episode where she's like hosting the party and she like busts out that light.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I literally did that, and I literally have that exact fucking, like, it's not a disco ball, but like
it's the same light.
It's the exact same light that I got, and I thought that I was gonna be so sick when I was like, whatever, like 10 years old, to have a party with this light. And then, like, I don't think people really thought that it was cool.
Yeah.
But, like, it was the exact same thing. And then we set it up in the video because it was funny. Because it was so relatable that it was on just, like, the very specific level of having this, like, party light thing. And I really liked the show. And I really liked everything about that show. And not even that I'm necessarily looking back on it, I don't even hate the stage dive moment. Like, I don't actually care about it that much. It just didn't land for me in that moment. You know,
at the time.
At the time. Maybe if I watched it now, maybe I would like it. I don't know. It's not that big of a deal for me. It's not a deal breaker on the show.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it was just a decent one. I think it's another C tier or a B tier, maybe B.
Can you put the chat back?
Yeah, what do you guys think? C or B tier?
I think it could be...
For Bocchi the Rock.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe if we didn't have as good of reactions as other... Easy B? B? High C, C? Getting mixed messages.
I think it's better than Cyberpunk, so maybe low B.
Yeah.
Yeah, low B. Maybe bottom B.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable with it there.
Low B, high C.
I think low B, because we would either have to put it above Cyberpunk in there, but I think it might belong right here.
Yeah, like when I look at the rest of these shows, like...
Maybe it's in that realm. Maybe it is high C.
Well, F. Get out of here. Low B, high C.
I think high C. I think high C. I think we move everything over.
Yeah. You get those ones. Oops. Yeah.
So right above Cyberpunk and below Avatar Book 1.
Kind of crazy that S has more than B. Well, I feel like it's not that crazy because it's like, okay, I say like all the ones that are really good are S and A, but there is way more like of like
there's really two categories.
There's like excellent. There's
really three categories. There's excellent, like series that you could go back and watch and be spending your time well, and then almost as good as and then like this kind of in a lower case. If you've seen all these, maybe you could go check these out, and then everything else, and then the third category is don't watch it at all, which is like low
goated
E&F.
mid trash, exactly.
Pretty much.
So and I also feel like a lot of the ones, like I feel like we could be a little bit more harsh. Like maybe we could
We could, yeah.
We could break it down, and maybe we will after we add in some of these. But I do feel like things are mostly in the right place, whether or not they get shifted slightly up and down on the scale.
Okay.
Have we done Attack on Titan yet? No.
No, we will probably maybe do that last, or unless you want to do it now.
I feel like, yeah, maybe it's a good idea to save that one a little bit longer. I'm not sure. We could...
So here's what we have. We have Fruits Basket, we have Arcane, we have Attack on Titan, Haikyuu, Hunter x Hunter, and Naruto. Those are the last ones. So we have Fruits Basket, Arcane, Naruto, Hunter x Hunter, Haikyuu, or wait, no, sorry. Haikyuu, Fruits Basket, Arcane, Naruto, Attack on Titan, Hunter x Hunter. We have 6 left.
I'll be right back. Everyone can pick while I'm gone.
We got 2 Hunter x Hunter. We got Fruits Basket. Yeah, I think. Well, they're split up into seasons. So we got 4 seasons of Haikyuu. We got Hunter x Hunter, which is all in one. Naruto Part 1, Naruto Shippuden. Attack on Titan Season 4, because we only have Season 4, and like all the specials we put at the end, all those end specials, like the 3 or 4, or however many it was, end specials. We kind of split them up like that, so the season of Season 4 is its own thing, and then the rest of the OVA specials. Finished Fruits Basket, we did finish it, it's on Patreon, but I didn't edit it, because it was honestly hell to edit, and I was just tired of it. I was just over it, and I'm still been meaning to do it, but it's just now not the right time to post it to YouTube because it'll get like 200 views because it's been literally a year since we posted the last episode, I think. So I don't know, but at some point maybe. But yeah. So I guess you guys want Hunter x Hunter. Then we'll do Hunter x Hunter first, and then maybe Fruits Basket. I don't do all the edits anymore. I used to. Now our editor, Bob Mike Joe, does edits for One Piece, and he's doing Fate Zero, and he does a couple other shows here and there, but everything else I do.
What do people pick?
I think we're doing Hunter x Hunter.
Okay.
Hunter x Hunter.
One of the all-time
Hanta Toyobu.
best shows.
Indeed. One of the best shows ever. One of my probably top 5 anime. So good. So good. Where are we putting? What do you think are the reactions?
I don't know. At least high A. Maybe S for the discussions.
Yeah, like, okay. I think it's hard because it was just your reaction. I couldn't have much of a reaction. However, Lindsay's reactions and her watching the show was like S tier because I think in episode 3, Lindsay called that Gon was a complete psycho. And there was something really messed up with him. And
I feel like what was actually great about that, like, I think some people didn't really like it because they felt as though I was, like, ruined on, like, the surprise of it. Yeah. But to me, it was so obvious, and it colored my reaction for the entire series that I was just waiting for that to, like, kind of turn bad. It was like, oh, it's great. He befriends a serial killer because he was nice to him one time. That's a fucking weird thing to do, but, like, kind of whatever. We're having fun. We're hanging out, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's always like, this is great, and he's able to just live such like a fun and energetic lifestyle, you know? Mm-hmm. And until not. And this was the first series that we did a discussion after every arc, and they were good discussions, and especially when you compare it to, like, when we look down here, a lot of the shows that are bad, well, are, like, you know, this, Kogios.
Most people can't even see what you're pointing to.
Sorry, JoJo Part 3, One Punch Man, Kogios, There's a lot of shows that are like in the mid to low that are shows that Carson had seen, I hadn't seen, and I didn't have a good reaction.
Yeah.
Whereas I was the only one having a reaction, but I feel like we were still able to have good discussions because I was actually like picking up on a lot of things, so you could actually talk to me in the discussions, and you didn't just have to be like, well, what do you think? Okay, we'll wait and find out, because I don't want to, you know what I mean?
That was a lot of what Code Geass ended up being, is that it's like, you know, you just want to move on to the next one, but it's like, okay, what do we say? Well, I think this and that and this and that, and then it was like, okay, but you don't really have much more to say than that, but in this case, you had a lot to say about it, and I could kind of at least contribute sometimes, and I felt like I learned a lot from Naruto about not going too deep, and I didn't feel like I had to go too deep in the discussions to like compensate for you not having anything to say. So I was able to more sit back, but not actually be, you know, just, you know, I was able to sit back without being worried that the reactions would be bad if I didn't like step up or like, you know, like a lot of times in Naruto I'd have to like punch up the energy. Like I'd have to like, you know, like get you going and like, oh wow, that's so crazy. I'd have to like really react and like kind of give you energy, but in Hunter x Hunter I didn't have to do that nearly as much. So
this was also, and maybe hopefully one day we'll do a thing like this again, just for our own, if we have time. But during Hunter x Hunter, I think was at the start of Hunter x Hunter, we did a challenge to ourselves because we didn't really have a lot going on. We were kind of feeling re-energized about the channel. We were starting Hunter x Hunter, and we gave ourselves a challenge that we will do 10 videos a day for 10 days. So basically recording 100 videos within a less than 2 week period.
Yeah.
And because Hunter x Hunter was so good, and because we were so excited about it, we were actually able to like complete that challenge relatively easily.
Yeah.
Just because it was so, like, you just wanted to watch it, and you had so much to say every time, and it didn't, you know, it didn't, the show never felt like, oh, I guess, you know, we have to watch a bit of Hunter x Hunter. It just felt like, I can't wait to watch Hunter x Hunter. And a lot of shows, you know, especially long shows, there's gonna be some episodes and some points in the story that you're like, oh, I'm not really feeling it right now, you know? But I feel like for Hunter x Hunter, other than like this kind of start mid of the Chimera Ant arc where I was like, on it for a little bit, like, it was still interesting, but that was kind of a low point in the story for me, but then it picked up so crazily at the end. Yeah. It was so good.
Yeah.
And I feel like I had good predictions, but the difference between something like this and something like Naruto, like, I feel like in a lot of the earlier shows, I would just, like, randomly predict stuff based on, like, because I was kind of familiar with story structure or just had, like, a sense about something. But I feel like in this, I could predict things, but it was based on because it was so well written.
Yeah.
That I could explain why I would predict something because certain things were being set up. Not necessarily like, oh, it's so obvious that this is going to happen, but it's like, because I can see the potential journey of Gon, what do I think is going to happen? I can see the tension building between him and Killua. You know, what could the result of this be, you know? And you don't know how it's going to happen or when it's going to happen. But it's interesting to be, like, keeping an eye on that the whole time and kind of discussing, you know, are we closer to something happening, or are we, maybe something different's going to happen now based on this other information, you know? I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like this was good.
Oh, Tenchi Bridge, classic. But yeah, I think that this could be an S tier. Just because of your predictions and things like that. I feel like it could be an S tier. And the discussions, like, S tier.
You know, I feel like it could be an S tier.
I think so as well.
And there was a lot of really high emotions at the end as well.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
But where in S tier? I'll let you put it since it was your reaction.
I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know. Replace JJK Season 2?
That's up here. It's above Free
No,
Rent.
that's JJK Season 2.
You think it's up there?
Mid-S? I'm kind of feeling mid-S. If
above
you guys,
Chainsaw Man.
If you guys can't, I was thinking somewhere around in here.
Above Apothecary Season 1. In first. Above Kaguya Season 3. Above Kaguya Season 2, probably. Above Angel Beats, probably. I think above Up Run with the Wind.
Yeah.
Probably above Free Ren. Just Hidden Inventory. Probably above Hidden Inventory just because of the depth of conversation. Mm-hmm. One Piece.
I think above
One Piece. Tengoku Daimakyo. Maybe not that.
Maybe like right.
Or maybe above that.
Maybe above not. That. Probably not above Promise Neverland. Because I think Promise Neverland had a lot of the elements of this.
Yeah.
But it was so short and snappy and shocking that it was just like we were at 100 the whole time.
Yeah.
Above, I think higher. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, S tier is now full.
Yeah. We may have to reassess because they're judging by what's left. There may be some more S tier options. Where is Hunter Hunter? Hunter Hunter, we are putting in right now in a high S tier. It's in front of it is Jujutsu Season 2, Vinland Saga Season 2, and Promise Neverland. And it's going in between Promise Neverland and Heavenly Delusion. Need an A+ tier to move stuff down. I think we just might have to be a little bit more harsh on the S tier.
Harsh on the S tier and A tier. Just move everything kind of down one.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that this is one of our best. If you haven't seen Hunter x Hunter, you should watch it. And if you like our reactions, I think that is a series that is well worth it to watch.
Well, I'm questioning S tier just because I wasn't the reactor there. Like, I'd seen it, so I guess I don't. I don't know. I wasn't sure exactly. I have a weird perspective on it because it is like one of my favorite shows, and I think the videos were good. But also, I remember I was reading the this is maybe where the confusion's coming. Is I was reading the comments at the time, and a lot of people didn't like our style of reaction at the time. Like, a lot of people, like, now we look back and it seems like they were really incredible. But, like, I remember reading the comments, and maybe it's because we had, like, not to be weird or anything, but it might come to, we've talked about this before, but, like, I think people in different countries, maybe in India or the Philippines or different places like that where we have a lot of viewers, there's different places in the world where people don't see, like, reactions the same way as far as, like, facial and emotional reactions, because we're, like, chuckling and laughing at things that we're excited about. That doesn't seem like an appropriate reaction to maybe people from different cultures. Mm-hmm. And I think that was what we got a lot. And I think Hunter x Hunter and shows like Hunter x Hunter and Naruto have a lot of people from India and the Philippines in particular, as well as a lot of other countries.
Like US.
So they see people laughing at stuff and they think that we're like making fun of it. But we're not making fun of it. We just, like, when Gon is doing something like so crazy, we're like, whoa! And they're like, why are you laughing? And
it's like a laughing in a surprised way versus laughing in like a haha that's so funny way.
And then
I think also, a lot of people who maybe just wanted like a standard reaction with just like the hype moments and just like, whoa, we paused a lot and talked a lot during Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
So like maybe people also might have not liked that. I'm not
then
sure.
People said that I was spoiling, but they were just wrong because I literally wasn't. They were saying that, like, because I was there, it's classic fucking exactly the same people who like watch Naruto. They just they thought that I was spoiling her. She's just smart. She just understood things, but they just thought that she was dumb or that she shouldn't be guessing things that she was guessing, or that the fact that she was guessing the things that she was guessing meant that she must have been influenced by me. But that's not the case at all. Like, I would think they would too, but I think
a lot of them did But
a lot of people blamed me. They were like, "Oh, you're just spoiling her." It's like, what did I literally at one point in the Chimera Ant arc, she went on like a big thing and predicted like so many different things, and I was like surprised, and I was like, "Oh, they're gonna love this." And then a bunch of people were pissed, and then there was one comment thread in particular, I forget what episode it is, but I replied, I'm like, literally, what did I spoil her about? Like, just I started saying this. I was like, give me a timestamp to where you think that I spoiled her. Literally, watch the video again, or go find where you think that I said something spoilerish, and put the timestamp down so I can see it. And they never even one time, ever, said that, like, a timestamp or pointed out to a specific part in the video where I said something. Ever. There was never one fucking time where they said that. And it's because it never happened. It's because Lindsay just is good at predicting things. Well,
and it's also dumb for people to assume that you wouldn't engage with my theories, even in a hypothetical way, even if I was wrong, and that you would just be like, oh no, like, there's two options if I present something to you that you know is true. Yeah. Either you don't necessarily confirm it, but you're like, okay, if that's the case, explain more. Yes. Or, oh yeah, maybe this or that, if that was the case, not spoiling what happens, but just going along the train of thought that I already brought to the table. Or I'll say things like, oh, so you think that's gonna happen? I'm saying, or the only other option to that would be to dismiss what I said, but you would be lying, and I would probably be able to be like, okay, why are you dissuading me from this theory for literally no reason? Either I'm being a fucking idiot, and that makes me scared to say something, or it's true and you're badly trying to hide it. Yeah. So there's only so many options. Those are the only two options.
And the real problem comes down to just people simping, and that's it. Like that. Like most of the problem comes down to that, and it's really that simple. They just don't like me because I'm a guy and I'm here, and they clicked on the video to see the pretty girl's reaction. That's literally most of it. And then everything else is a downstream effect of that. And that's why they have no argument. That's why they don't have a timestamp to when, I spoiled her, because it doesn't exist, because I didn't do anything wrong, because they are just simps who are kind of pathetic, and that's it. And they are blaming me for being alive and on screen. So they can go fuck themselves, because they're just wrong. So that's where the confusion comes, and why I was hesitant putting an S tier, because a lot of people that watched the reactions coming out at the time didn't.
But Carson had the bald globe. Exactly. If he'd been bald during Hunter x Hunter, what the hate wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. So that's why I was hesitant putting it an S, even though I think that the reactions and the series itself, it has a similar thing as like my rationale for the One Piece reactions being an S, where they. We add a lot of value to it, and we have a lot of things to say about it. And, what we add cumulatively, like, looking at the whole thing and the whole journey of it, you see things change and shift, and, like, a lot of new new things considered, theories and predictions and analysis and emotions and everything. Like, when you look at the whole series, there's so much added over the course of it from the reaction, that I genuinely think that it's worth it. I think that Hunter x Hunter is even a better example than One Piece. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So, what next? We got Arcane, Fruits Basket, Naruto, Attack on Titan, and Haikyuu. And we will probably have to do another segment, because I wasted an hour before we went live. Unfortunately, but thank you, Clockwork.
Fruits Basket, Arcane, Naruto. Let's end with Naruto. Fruits Basket.
Fruits Basket, I guess.
I feel like we should do Fruits Basket, because it had been in the thumbnail a couple times, and then people were like, why didn't you do Fruits Basket yet?
Fruits Basket time. So, Fruits Basket, the show that is still not currently finished on YouTube. We're going to start with Season 1. We got Seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Fruits Basket. Mm-hmm. Season 1 of Fruits Basket, what do you think? Let's start off with what you think.
What I think? I liked Season 1. I think that our reactions to Season 1 were actually, like, not bad. I know it still wasn't your, like, type of show, but within Season 1, I think you had a lot of false hope that it was going to be a little bit... better than it ended up being.
Yeah.
we made a lot of theories. We made a lot of theories that would have actually been super fucking cool if they had been true, just in terms of, like, kind of the power system or the magicalness.
It turns out all of that was completely just there to sell the initial part of the story.
Yeah. But I think season 1...
And didn't actually end up mattering that much.
I think in season 1, isolated, I feel like we had decent reactions. I feel like it didn't start, like, grating on you as much then. There was none of the fucking, like, Akito bullshit going on in season 1. Like, I don't even remember if Akito was even mentioned, or, like, if they were, it was kind of, like, as an elusive figure or something, you know? Like,
I think we first saw Akito in season 1.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, that wasn't, like, a main character in the story.
Time for Carson to rant about women. Oh, it's coming. No, I probably leave that out this time, but I could.
Yeah, I think this could be, like, somewhere in the middle, like, maybe mid C or low B, high C, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed season 1. It was, you know, I don't think our reactions to season 1 were necessarily bad. What do you guys think, if anyone watched our reactions to this? C?
Oh, what the hell is this music? Just regular Zelda music?
You went out of that playlist.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
I hit, like, oh, okay. I hit,
yeah, and then I think you hit next, but it was at the end.
Oh. Maybe not that one, maybe, sure, that one. Yeah, sorry. What, then? What?
Let's see what people say. High C, above Konosuba. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it could be better than Cyberpunk. Probably not better than Bocchi, even with that controversial moment.
Yeah.
Like, I think overall, in season 1, we were having a good time. We had a lot of high hopes for the show. You know, it was maybe a little bit more on the romance end than you would have liked, but there was some interesting elements going on.
Yeah. I just feel like it was sold to me as another Clannad, and it was not even half as good. Yeah, I feel so weird about Fruits Basket. You know, I don't know how to feel about, like, I kind of do know how to feel. I don't really like it.
Yeah.
And I feel bad that I don't like it.
Season 2. Not as bad as season 3, but I feel like this is where it started to go a little bit downhill. Fruits Basket won against Monster. This was my first BOLDcast poll war. I feel like in an alternate...
Our world would have been so much better had we just done fucking Monster.
I really like this show for 99% of the show. There were some things that I had a problem with at the end, but you just started hating this show. Like,
because I kept waiting for it to, like, redeem itself or to give me something, and it just kept being what I didn't want. And that's kind of my fault, because I didn't take the cues from the show that it was what it was. And it was also our fault again for leaving something up to a poll. Mm-hmm.
I had been really wanting to watch this show, though, and
I did too!
I know you actually had also been wanting to watch this show.
But it's because it was sold to me as another Clannad, and it's not even remotely the same. It's like, it's not good. It's not good. It's not even consistent with its own characters. Uo was fucking butchered.
Yeah, Uo was one of the best characters in the show, and but that was more in season 3, I think. But yeah. But here's the thing. I think in an alternate universe, there are 2 different ways that Fruits Basket could have gone that we would have potentially liked it. There's the alternate universe in which there are nothing to do with the Zodiacs, and Fruits Basket is maybe a little bit more similar to Clannad with just, like, real life, like, super fucked up kind of family dynamics going on. That would have been an interesting show. I think we would have liked that more. And then there's the other alternate universe where Fruits Basket leans a lot more into the Zodiacs and maybe goes with someone like this thought. I can't remember exactly what we were thinking, but there was a lot of, like, really cool theories about the Zodiac that we had to, like, just make it more magical, more in line with
lean
that.
into that.
There was a lot more to do with that. But the fact that it was like, I feel like on either end of the spectrum, we could have really enjoyed the show, but it ended up in a strange middle ground where it didn't fully follow through on either aspect. And then ended up with a lot of terrible age gap couples at the end that didn't make any fucking sense.
And sorry, the characters just aren't strong enough to be the main focus of the show, to me. Like, it is 100% about that butterfly feeling when two people are about to kiss on screen. That flicker of emotion is what the entire show is trying to get you to feel, and it works for probably a lot of people, especially the people that the manga was aimed for, which is 12-year-old girls. But for a grown man, you know, it's a me problem at the end of the day, because this is meaningful to a lot of different people. So I can acknowledge that it is a me problem. It's a taste problem. I'm not the target audience of this. Mm-hmm. I can admit that. But it's like, all the magic shit was just an excuse to have some cute animals. Mm-hmm. And, like there was some stuff being said with like, you know, when people of the opposite gender get close, there's like a reaction there, mm-hmm. like, you know, because people turn into animals when they get hugged by the opposite gender. Mm-hmm. So there's something there kind of thematically, but nothing is done with any of that in a real way. It goes out of its way to say less and to be less in favor of just
everyone.
Toru, every time she solves a problem, it's her screaming and crying. And like connecting with other people, but it's like, can she show that in another way that's not her, like, being oblivious to everything that's going on, almost on purpose, and then screeching and crying, and then people just magically get better? People talk so much mad shit on something like Naruto, and yes, I am going to compare them, for talk no jutsu and stuff, but Naruto is, like, people talk about, like, the pain arc and stuff like that, where he... all this stuff is done. The villain goes so far because of this like hatred in their heart, and then they're like, so one conversation and he just undoes all of that, and everything that he's been working for is just nothing. It's using the magic and the war and all this build up to show that violence isn't always the answer, and that, you know, just in this, because the story is about somebody who feels so much pain and is taking it out and lashing out at the world. And what's the right thing to do? Is it just to kill that guy because he's evil and we just kill that guy? That's the solution. Somebody gets, invaded by another country and all their friends get murdered and betrayed. And then they are lashing out in anger at the rest of the world and want to like make nukes and all this shit. And the answer, in an idyllic, like, thematic way, like, what's the lesson? The lesson is, if somebody is been bullied and destroyed and spat on by society to the point of, rage and hatred, the solution is just to kill them. That's what we should be taking from this. So it's there's a huge fighty arc, and then at the end, the solution is actually compassion. And actually re-examining yourself and looking inward and finding connection and giving somebody a second chance. That's something similar, almost the exact same as what's done with Akito in Fruits Basket. So then why am I walking away from Fruits Basket feeling like Toru didn't do shit, and because she doesn't know anything? Anytime she has the chance to learn something, she just conveniently does not until the exact moment where she learns it in the end, and then she screams and cries at the one person who has the problem until they, cry with her and hug her in, and now everything's better. And it's just like, is this about really complex and deeply layered historical issues and psychology and family trauma? Or is it about, it just feels so shallow. It feels so shallow. And it was sold to me as really deep. Toru to me is not a peak character. She sucks. She's just whiny. And yes, she feels deeply, and that's the point. But like,
and I do feel like,
I just don't care about them. I don't care. about them. Sorry.
I do think that Toru, especially maybe a little bit earlier on, I did really like her as a character, and she felt kind of refreshing, and I loved her friends, you know, like, the dynamic that the three of them had was really good, while that was kind of a thing. But to me, I feel like the show just kind of degraded the longer that it went on.
Yeah. And again, like, Bon says that it's trying to be something that does not help with the experience. Well, the problem is, like, I was sold, it was built up to me like it was more than it was. And then, so I was waiting for it to become more than it was, and then it wasn't anything more, and then I started being disappointed that it wasn't really going anywhere with its ideas, and it was just being the most basic shoujo-ass plot ever. But that's what people loved it for. That's what people wanted it for. And then I got blamed for focusing on the wrong things until the point where I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna let go and just not care about the show anymore, and just see where it takes me. And it took me, like, you know, I was expecting it to maybe be, like, on a level of, you know, intrigue or complexity or, like, I don't know, commentary, something. Like, some kind of deeper level. I was expecting to be, like, layer 3 out of 10. And it was the most consistently 1 or 2 out of 10 layer of like, depth to me. And maybe that's too harsh. Again, it's not for me. And it's not the kind of thing that I would like. And it's honestly our problem for asking YouTube to recommend us a show.
But here's the thing.
Every time we have left it up to a poll, it has gone poorly. Every time. We have never watched a show from a poll that we didn't, like, rig, basically, like the Fate Zero one. Like, that doesn't count. Well,
Fate Zero was just, we're watching Fate Zero. Are
dub
you okay
sub.
with us watching in dub?
Yeah.
We're probably gonna watch dub.
Every time we've left it up to a poll, it has ended in misery. And just, I don't like it. Because we're asking the largest population of normal people what they love. And what they love is what's popular, and what's popular isn't always what I'm going to like. And maybe that's snobby, maybe that's my problem, but it just is what it is. I just don't like Fruits Basket. I just don't like it. It's boring as shit.
That's fair. I do want to say, though, that I'm pretty sure you wanted to watch Fruits Basket even before the poll.
Yes!
And also even before it was even recommended to us from YouTube.
Yes.
Because it was such an iconic show.
And because I had seen Monster. I've seen Monster, so we didn't want another thing to happen, like, kind of, was it after Code Geass, or was it around the same time? Regardless, we didn't want that to happen again, where it's like, I didn't want to be leaving up to you to carry a reaction for something like Monster especially, which is a lot slower of a burn of a show, and not super exciting. I think the
problem with it is we had a little bit different. I still, overall, liked 90% of the show. All of the stuff with Akito and all of the stuff with every fucking character getting into a relationship that, like, didn't necessarily make sense. Even the characters that were clearly gay getting into relationships.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of everyone ending up with someone.
Yes. Yeah. Like Yuki's brother.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Anyway, I guess we should just rank these. Where would you put season 2? I honestly don't even, like, I remember season 3 being bad.
It was the beach stuff.
Oh, yeah, the beach.
That was mostly the thing, which was crazy. But then, like, Momiji got slapped. Big fucking whoop.
Yeah.
Like, Akito's done way worse shit to all of them. And we're acting like getting slapped by Akito is, like, the biggest fucking deal.
I think it's worse than season 1, but not the worst. What do you think? Like...
Momiji was the best character. Momoji's story was actually really interesting with the memory wiping and all that kind
of
shit.
Uo was like
and
best
Uo was awesome. Yeah,
until
like there was good stuff about it.
She was sabotaged so hard at the end. I cannot even describe how hard they sabotaged Uo.
Yeah, just with not caring about Toru almost dying to Akito.
Well, and also just Uo just being such like a great character, and then just randomly falling head over heels for like a 30-year-old man.
Oh yeah. What is that? Why?
So
literally, why?
So fucking bad.
Because he was like Toru. In what way was he like Toru?
He was also just there.
Like, what? I still can't get over that. He had brown hair, therefore he's like Toru. What? That doesn't, like, because that was the whole thing. That was, because she was, like, in love with Toru, because she, like, loved Toru so much. But Toru was, like, her friend and her baby. But then she meets a guy, and she's like, oh, yeah, he's kind of like Toru. Brother, how? Literally, in what universe is this guy like Toru at all? He's the only guy that's less useful and less impactful than Toru. like less effectual. He's the only guy who does less than Toru in the story.
Yeah, I fucking hate that guy.
Who does less. Toru does a lot, but what her doing results in her just crying and screaming until people come to their senses. Which, if you count that as action, you
And
can.
also, even, like, the whole plot of the fucking...
The Shigure thing was weird, but it was interesting.
It was, like, yeah, it
was weird as shit, but it caught me by surprise, and it was at least interesting and something happening.
It was interesting, and you hated it, but, like, it was interesting. The Uo thing was just completely irrelevant and did not need to happen, literally even at all. Anyway, season 2, where, like, behind Clannad here, maybe?
Yeah.
Like, at that point, there was still some good stuff in season 2. I was still really liking it.
And see, this is why I still haven't posted the last episode.
But you were on your way out.
I was on my way out. I was trying so hard. That's the thing, too, is if I just, like, you know, I feel like, yeah, it's all expectations. Because if I wasn't... And it's not always all expectations. In this case, it was all expectations. Normally, I'm cool with just, you know, watching something. Like, I can get over it. But it's like, everyone kept saying, no, just, like... You know, just try and get in. Like, it was just everybody. And it just was relentless, and it never was true. It was never going to be my show. And I kept listening, and I kept trying, and I kept trying even harder. And then the fact that I had wasted so much, and then I'd be up till 7 a.m. editing one episode because it would come back copyrighted like 20 times. Literally, I'd have to wait like hours for multiple renders, and then post, and then upload it, and then wait for half an hour for YouTube to process it to check it for copyright. Then it would come back positive, give me, like, from this time code to this time code. I have to go back to the edit, re-edit it, render that out. That would take, like, 15, 20 minutes. Then upload it. Then YouTube would check it for another half an hour. I would have to edit that for hours and hours and hours. So on top of me not liking the show, hoping that it would get better, trying my best every video to try and give it its due, and it not paying off, and then knowing that we're not even having that big of a reaction every moment, and I'm gonna have to sit here, not only edit it, but re-edit it 20 times, and re-watch the episode 20 times before I have to post it. That didn't help either, so there you go. Season 3. Season
3, what, like there?
Didn't you really love the ending? I really liked the ending, the last little part. Like the last, like, flash forward part.
Yeah. But you also just, like, were miserable the entire time of season 3. I still liked a lot of season... There was, as I said, a lot of things that annoyed me and I thought were just bad choices about season 3. But I still liked it. But you were just being... Like, I know, but I'm saying, like... You know, we're allowed to say that I ruined, you know, JoJo Part 3.
Yeah.
This I feel like is... You know,
I kept it out of the reaction at least.
Yeah, but
I kept it inside, and I didn't start saying all of this until we had finished it. I like was kind of I don't know, like there were a couple times where like I kind of went mask off and was just sort of like, you know, I just don't think I like this, and they're like, and in the comments like really got mad at me of like once or twice, and then I considered just stopping watching it, and then you know, we just kept going, but I didn't have this freak out until now, like, publicly. And I didn't have this freak out privately until months after I had time to reflect, because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't, like, being too harsh or anything. So I thought about it for a long time. But anyway, I wasn't like this in the episodes. I was really trying my best to like it.
Yeah.
So you put it wherever you want, I guess.
Do you think better or worse than season 2?
That's up to you. I don't know. It's kind of a blur to me, because
Yeah. Maybe around the same level, because there was here. I guess here's the thing with this: even if we didn't like it, we did talk a lot about kind of the dumb things that were happening. Like, we talked a lot about the Akito stuff. We did have a lot of discussions. You know, you did try and keep it positive, but there was just a lot of things that were like not working. Even though I liked it, and even though you didn't like it, there was just a lot of things that just objectively were not working within the story. But then there was also a lot of like reaction-worthy moments at the same time, even if we were reacting to them because they were dumb as fuck.
Yeah.
We were reacting to them in its own way.
Oh, you know what I didn't like? I didn't like that Akito, like, you know, there's all this, like, evil. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's like Akito's evil. No, Akito's misunderstood, and Akito is really just a product of the position that Akito is in, right? All that kind of shit. Then, you know, and we're gonna fix that. But then it's like, okay, Akito's not pure evil, actually, as it turns out. But Akito's mom is just pure evil.
Yeah.
And so they have this thing of like, oh, everyone can be saved and Toru can get through to anybody.
Not that
but
bitch.
Not that bitch. She just still is evil. And I at the time I praised it, but I'm also like, looking back, I'm like, doesn't that go against everything the show is about? And the nuance of the show, that like everyone, no matter what they've done, even somebody as bad as Akito, who like is just a complete fucking piece of shit, has a core of like almost divinity to them, like almost beauty in their soul and can be saved and has some good to offer the world and maybe could be a good person eventually. But then we see the mom and she's just actually shit.
Also forgetting the best character. What's his name? Shisho?
Yeah.
Yeah. Another absolutely...
unambiguously good, to kind of balance it out.
But not related to that. Just another goated character from the show.
He's awesome.
Like Uo pre... falling in love for
the Kyo reveal almost made you drop the show. Didn't you vote for us to watch this? And you voted for us to fucking watch it, even though you almost dropped it at season 1.
Called out.
What the fuck, Crouton King? No, just appears so everyone can blame her and save the real villain. Well, yeah, that's my problem. It's like there was nuance when it was Akito is the root of all evil, or like the manifestation of the root of all evil, and then we purify her, and then, you know, it shows that people can be saved. But then when you offload all of the evil from that one person to another person that you don't save, then it goes against the entire point of the entire show. You know? Anyway. Do you guys think our reactions to season 3 were better or worse than our reactions to season 2?
They're probably not much better or much worse, honestly.
Well, then you decide.
I think they might be a little bit slightly better. Just because there was more...
Yeah, the beach shit was so overrated.
Kind of
everyone was so hyping that up, even at the time and before, like, oh, the beach arc. And I'm like, It wasn't that crazy. We just... Toru got to learn some things.
Oh, when he, like, left dramatically? Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm gonna just put this very slightly above this, just because more happened, even if overall... we liked a lot of this stuff less. There was just more content. Because also a lot of this was just dragging out the Akito, like, reveals. Yeah. For, like, the entire time. Where's Frank, the Fruits Basket enjoyer?
The reason I get so worked up when it comes to things like Fruits Basket is the same reason I get worked up when I talk about Invincible, which has been most of this stream, both of those things. And it's because it's so, like, it genuinely, it's a personal thing. But I get so frustrated with the fact that I don't enjoy the same things other people enjoy. It frustrates me. It genuinely does, especially when it's my job to enjoy the things that other people enjoy. I wish it were so easy for me. I just don't like the stuff that other people like most of the time. I have to really try to get into the headspace where I can be, you know, in this vibe of the people who I'm interacting with things like this, like with reactions and stuff like that. You know, to the point where, like, our friends in real life, it's hard for me to even talk about things that I like because I enjoy them differently and I enjoy different things because I enjoy them for different reasons than a lot of other people. So, you know, I don't know. Yeah, it's rare. I enjoyed Solo Leveling Season 2. I didn't like Season 1 almost at all. Hunter x Hunter was incredible. But, again, that's, like, it's rare. It's like, you know, there's not a lot of things like that. And for somebody who does reactions for a living, it's such a difficult thing for me, genuinely. Like, I can't just watch the things that I want. We gotta talk about this last stream. I won't go into that too much again. But it's, you know, it's something that genuinely fucks with me. Because it would just be so easy if I just loved Fruits Basket. If I just got emotional and cried when Toru cried. And just loved it. You know?
The anime at the very top of S tier is Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. Because we had a lot of really good discussions for it. Yes. Solo Leveling Season 2, I didn't like Solo Leveling. I don't like the world or the world building of Solo Leveling. I liked the action and the fun
shit
and
going on.
It was a fun experience to watch it and just enjoy it for what it was. I don't think that it's a
good show necessarily. Like I don't think that overall it's like, oh, this is such an incredible, work of art. It's a fucking power fantasy.
Where even is Solo Leveling season 2?
Somewhere high.
Oh, you're here in B.
Season 2 is in B.
Yeah, season 2 is in B. Even season 2, I would say like the show itself is maybe like a C tier, but it is enjoyable to watch. It's similar with Blue Lock. Like Blue Lock season 2 is probably not a tier show, but it was fun to watch, and we had fun watching it together.
Yeah.
And that's why this is a different thing than if we were ranking how much we enjoyed the show and how much we like the show.
Yes.
This list would be almost completely different.
Yeah. It's a really weird criteria of how good the reactions are. It's not how much we liked it, even. It's not even like our ranking of it. It's literally like, did we bring a lot to the discussion? Did we have a good like all the different criteria. It's a very mixed thing. So that's why it's kind of more interesting. We could just do a ranking of how much we liked each show. And it's, there's a lot of overlap, but it's not quite, it doesn't quite match up.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Now, I think we should do Arcane.
Yeah.
And then maybe if we do another stream, I guess we'll do another stream. We'll have to do another one because it's already almost 3. We could probably just do this one and end it.
Yeah.
And then do Attack on Titan, Naruto, and Haikyuu in the next one and have a decent enough to talk about. Even if it's just an hour stream.
Yeah, I would try and wrap them all up, but I think that we're going to have a lot to talk about with Naruto. Like, I feel like we're going to talk for, like, at least, 45 minutes on Naruto.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we'll have a lot of time to talk about it. So, yeah, we'll do this one. We got Arcane. Seasons 1 and 2 of Arcane.
Tier list season 3, part 2, part 1.
Exactly. Perfect for the one where we actually do Attack on Titan.
Actually, that's what we should call it. A tale of 2 hairstyles.
Okay. I keep thinking this is going to be the final one. But anyway, okay, so season 1.
If we didn't yap so much, it would be the final one.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, because a lot of people have been waiting for us to do Fruits Basket, and I just wish I had better things to say. I genuinely do. I just want to cap that off. I genuinely wish that I liked it more. I really, really wanted to like it. It's the exact kind of thing that, from the outside looking in, I thought that I would really like, and I tried for the entire show to get in the vibe, but I just really genuinely dislike it on almost every level, and I wish I didn't. There are a few characters, there are a few episodes. Obviously, there's some episodes that are really good. It's not completely terrible, but in my opinion, I just don't like it. And it hurts me to say that because I know a lot of people really looked forward to our reactions. But it was just so maybe I'm being too hard on it, and I'm sorry, but it's just the truth of how I feel. And I wish it were different. I really do. I tried to be more positive.
The fact that you had to watch every episode 50 times trying to edit it for the copyright, I feel like just made you hate it.
And then the reactions also performed so terribly.
We're sabotaging ourselves.
Yeah, we sabotaged ourselves, and I would get shit on every comment section, and that's even after all of this. It's after all of that, but it definitely didn't help. But genuinely, just the show itself, it's just not my thing at all, and I didn't like it. And I wish that wasn't true, but it just is. So I'm sorry for those who were waiting for us to talk about Fruits Basket because they wanted to hear us talk about Fruits Basket because they love Fruits Basket. I'm really sorry. It just is what it is. So I apologize.
Yeah, but, also, I am also realizing, as you're mentioning 86 there, I guess somehow that also didn't get printed, but we're doing it again, so I'll print it out for next time.
Okay, we'll start off quick with 86 and not spend too much time on it, but...
Yeah.
Hopefully. But Arcane Season 1. What do you think of Arcane Season 1?
I feel like it was Arcane Season 1, Season 2 I kind of remember more just because it was more recent. Season 1, it's not really standing out to me one way or the other. I liked the show. I feel like it was good. Season
1 of the show is better than Season 2 of the show.
Yeah,
by
but
a lot.
I think our reactions to Season 2 of the show might be better than our reactions.
I don't think so at all.
Think so?
No, I don't think so at all.
Maybe I'm just not remembering it good enough.
I think they were about the same.
I guess.
Like, decent. I actually don't really remember.
What do you guys think?
What do you guys think of our Arcane reactions? I can't remember, like, there were some things that were good. Like, the first 3 episodes of Arcane Season 1 were, like, really, really good. I feel like we had a good connection to them.
Mm-hmm. I think we had decent discussion. Like, I think that these maybe either, like, high B, low A kind of. Like, I don't even know if they deserve to be an A. Maybe, like, because it's hard, because I feel like they were, like, solid, but not that incredible, you know?
Yeah.
Season 2 reactions were better for you? Thought Season 1 was better?
Season 2 reactions were better. I guess it's because I edited Season 1 reactions, and I didn't edit the Season 2 reactions, maybe. Maybe that's why I don't remember it as much.
I think your Arcane was good, but not outside the norm, like with your other reactions where you cook.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
100%.
what, that's
yeah,
what
it's not. It's definitely not in the higher tiers, but like, I don't know which one is better. Some people are saying that Season 2 was better, but I guess it's maybe I had more fun with it because I didn't have to edit it. I don't know.
Able to do them as they come out. That's true. And also, I think we were just in, like, a better mood. We were, like, in on it. We were, like, catching it kind of on time, whereas Arcane Season 1, we were, like, catching up to it, and, like, we didn't, you know, we weren't, like, in on the hype, maybe.
Yeah.
They weren't that memorable, but I don't think that they were that bad. Like, I don't think I would put them in with C.
I think, why not?
You don't think so?
No, I think, like, they shouldn't be higher than C.
Mm.
Should they be higher than C? C tier? Or maybe low B? But, like, saying it's in B tier, like, this is why I feel like we might need to readjust everything. Because I feel like if in a properly weighted scale, it would be a C tier reaction. Mm-hmm. But, you know, given what it'd be next to in C, I feel like it's better. But, you know?
Yeah.
At least, well, maybe not. I think probably in here.
In there?
Or maybe in here. Maybe Cyberpunk was slightly better because I think we had more to say for Cyberpunk. Below Gleipnir.
I don't know if well...
I don't think so. I think the reactions are better than the Gleipnir reactions.
And especially a lot of, like, some of those shows we were, like, kind of mixed on. I really liked Arcane. And, and a lot of it was really good and really high quality, and we had
I think right here.
discussions, but, like, not that good of discussions. Yeah.
Better than Korra. Not as good as Konosuba Seasons 2 and 3. Even though we didn't do much of Konosuba Season 3. But still, yeah, I think that's
fair,
where it belongs. I think both could probably go right next to each other.
Yeah.
So Season 2 reactions better than Season 1?
Honestly, I think so. I think Season 1 was definitely better, but I just feel like, as is kind of the trend, a lot of our more recent reactions are just higher quality, just because we're in a better mood and just kind of more excited about stuff lately.
Yeah, sure. So Season 1 and then Season 2, and then that's where we'll end it this time.
I also always just remember being so mad at Jace.
At Jace?
For just being dumb.
Yeah, he just, like, fucking flip-flopped every 2 seconds on everything. Yeah. Sorry for being so negative this stream, but that's kind of why I didn't want to do Invincible and Fruits Basket earlier in other streams, is because those in particular, I knew I would have less good things to say about it in, like, my rants and stuff. And I guess I didn't need to go on those rants. But yeah, I do feel bad for being so negative. It's just, you know.
All I'm going to say for Naruto next time is that I wish you'd watch it now, because I think you'd enjoy it more. But then again, your channel wouldn't exist without Naruto. That is, like, literally, we think about this all the time. If I watched Naruto now, I would have a way better response to it, and I would be able to properly articulate parts that I didn't like. I would be able to properly say why I wasn't a fan, rather than just kind of getting frustrated and upset because I don't want everyone to hate me because I didn't like a part of the show, and then I would say, like, oh, I didn't like this, and then you'd be like, well, why don't you like that? And then I'm like, I don't know, I didn't like it, and then I would just kind of get, like, flustered about it, you know? But I think if we watched it now, then it would just be so much better, and it would be so much fun. You know? Because I feel like, especially, like, towards the end of Naruto, towards the later half of Shippuden, we had a lot of fun, and there were some great reactions in there. But earlier on in Naruto, it feels like it was wasted, but also if we had picked something else...
Our channel
to,
wouldn't
like,
have picked up.
if we were like, okay, we don't want to waste Naruto now, well, it's gonna be bad. Let's pick something shitty. Well, like, that's not how it works.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it kind of sucks.
Well.
And the...
you would say the villain is just like Naruto thing again? They're doing the villain is just like Naruto thing again? Oh. Like how we do how Lindsay in particular does every video and compares everything to Naruto? Yeah. Well, because I used to compare everything to Naruto, and I think it set a bad precedent, because then Lindsay started comparing, and she still compares everything to Naruto.
Here's the thing that I do feel like maybe it's bad, but also it's just such an easy thing to compare to, because it is like it's such like a standard, you know, set of things, and it just relates to so many things. I did like the Gleipnir is too low. Classic. It's so nostalgic, but I don't think it was very great. Naruto was a good sacrifice. Yeah, well, let's just put on disguises and rewatch Naruto.
That's a great idea.
And pretend to be different people.
There's AI filters and shit. We just, like, AI filter our voices, AI filter our faces, put ourselves in a different part of the room. Case closed. Nobody has any idea it's us, and we can react to Naruto again. And just fake our reactions and like, make it as... knowing exactly everything that's coming up, we could plan out the script for each episode. Give no discussion, except for like, wow, that was so great. See you guys in the next one. Check out Patreon.
Yeah, this is a genius idea.
There you go. VTuber models. Ooh. Yeah, in a couple years, that'll be the wave.
People watch AOT rewatches. We actually have, like, I think we kind of talked about this before. We've been thinking of doing a One Punch Man rewatch.
Yes.
We wouldn't, like, probably post, like, each one, but we would maybe rewatch it and then make, like, sort of like a mega reaction and our, like, thoughts on it as seeing it for the second time in a better light, and then start season 2.
Yeah.
Is kind of what we've been thinking. And we have also always talked about doing a Naruto rewatch, like, maybe just as a Patreon exclusive or on streams or something, just to, like, because I like to watch it again one day when I'm not, like, feeling a lot of pressure and, like, uncomfortable on camera. But we just have so many, like, actual things to watch that it's hard to justify spending hundreds of hours, you know, watching something that we've already seen.
Yeah, I mean, if people really wanted to see that, then sure, but, like... Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like not the right thing to do. But yeah. 3 shows left. Yeah, so next stream we're going to be covering...
86, so 4.
Oh, 4 episodes. So there are 4 shows. So there's 86, Naruto, Attack on Titan, and Haikyuu. And we're going to be talking about all those next time. Given probably some rants. Each of those will probably take half an hour each. Well, not 86. Maybe 86, actually. We might have more to say about it. But yeah... Those will probably all result in about a 2-hour stream with the pace that we've been going. We went pretty rapid fire on some of these, but as we were getting towards the end, we saved a lot of the ones that would require a bit more of a discussion, so that's kind of where we're at now.
Why is Arcane so low? It just didn't really stand out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that we were... Especially, like, a lot of the higher ones is, like... Not to be like, oh yeah, we're better than everyone else, but like I feel like we can bring something different to the table with either our discussions or our reactions or our predictions or whatever is maybe different than what other people are saying.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like we didn't really bring very much to Arcane. We liked it. We had decent reactions. We had all right discussions, but I don't think we like. Yeah, they aren't really that memorable, and that seemed to be what most people thought.
Exactly. Mystery show we may watch soon. It'll be soon enough that we don't really need to give hints. And I'm sure you probably already know what it is, but... And
also, if you're here and you didn't know, we are watching Fate Zero, and the reactions have been going up. Episodes 1 and 2 are out on our channel right now, and you can watch them. And they're actually doing pretty good. We kind of avoided doing Fate for a really long time because it just never seemed like the right time. We were worried that it wasn't going to get many views, that people weren't going to hate it because it was in dub, and like all of these things. But it's actually doing not that bad, and we're excited. So if you want, you can go and check that out, and that would help it out. Because the season's kind of slow on like seasonals, like To Be Hero and Apothecary.
And also for those who are crazy about To Be Hero, like we've been falling behind because we fell behind a little bit, but like we usually have D&D Saturday nights, and it starts around the time that the show comes out. So most weeks we can't watch it until the next day, and then usually the next day something will come up, or we just don't feel like watching it that day, and we need to watch One Piece, and we need to like get some other things together or something. Like there's usually something that comes up, but and then it's like, oh well, we're already a day late. Why don't we just if we're not super feeling, why don't we wait till tomorrow? And then that happens every day until we get to now, where it's almost the end of the week and the next episode's coming out soon. So sorry for To Be Hero fans, but anyway,
hopefully it seems like we might be able to get it at least a little bit sooner.
Do you think you'll watch more Orb? Yes. Everyone seems to really want our Orb reactions. We're starting to get worried that, like, it won't do well on YouTube, but if we start it and it does shit, then I guess we just won't finish it. I don't know, but...
we want to watch more. We were just getting set up on...
We do want to watch it, yes.
The thing is, we were getting... Things have been feeling kind of stale. There was some stressful stuff going on. Carson had been really, really just feeling like watching Fate. And like we're at kind of a slow part in One Piece right now, so it was like we wanted to watch Orb, but that just like wasn't like quite the vibe of like.
It didn't feel like the medicine that I needed.
Like what we were kind of looking for in that moment. But we decided to watch Fate, and we have actually binged like a decent amount of it at this point. And it was just fun, easy to watch. It shook things up. I think it being in dub kind of helped for that. So. That's why that came before Orb.
Yeah.
But now that we feel a little bit more refreshed, we feel a little bit better, and we're going to be getting back to it.
Yes.
And
there'll be more episodes will be on Patreon probably tomorrow or the next day, I imagine.
Before the end of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. We're going to end stream. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Make sure to like the stream, please, and thank you. Not a lot of variety makes sense. Yeah, sure. Okay. All right. Much love, guys. Thanks for checking out the stream. See you guys probably next week for hopefully the actual final one. There's only 4 shows left, so it should hopefully be the final one. But yeah, see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Like the stream. Bye-bye.
Nah.
Nah.